All right, hello everybody. Hello and welcome to Salty Saturday. My name is Dr. Fish, and I have some fantastic casters alongside me tonight. We've got Mojo Powell,
Hello.
and we've got Nice Jewish Owl.
Hello, hello. Wow, the names almost rhyme.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
they almost rhyme. I like it.
that's what we call synergy.
We've got double the animal power here, so we're definitely got it that correct. And I'm just gonna be your op for tonight. I might make a couple comments here and there, just throughout the match, but generally these two guys will be taking you through our match that we have. So why don't one of you go ahead and talk and give the rundown on the classes and the players?
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight's match is going to be Ron Mexico of Wherever I May Roam versus Heat Shock from Vote of Some Confidence. This is Hero Series match. The week has already been decided between these two teams. I believe that the win has gone to Wherever I May Roam, but still a fun match. Two really good players. If you want to take us through the classes, Owl.
Yeah, so from Heat Shock, we see Druid, Paladin, Priest, and Warrior. And from Ron, we see Demon Hunter, Paladin, Rogue, and Warrior. So the Paladin and Warrior is the same between both of them, but Ron's got Demon Hunter and Rogue, and Heat Shock's rocking with Druid and Priest.
Yeah, so some of the no, please, you. I was just saying, it's some of the pretty standard best classes from before the Wailing Caverns released, right? We're seeing both players with Paladin, and both players with Warrior. We've got a Priest in there, so it's pretty much the same. No spicy new classes like a Shaman's the only really new class. No Shaman, but still interested to see what archetypes these are because there's a couple options for all of these classes.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
the bands are in. They're up on the screen, but you guys can go ahead and take your guess at the bands, and I'm gonna give them the go ahead to start.
My guess is double Warrior.
Yeah, my guess was, I think, oh goodness, what was it? Ron was definitely going to ban Warrior, and then Heat Shock would ban either Warrior or Rogue.
So, Warrior was banned from one player, and that would be Heat Shock banning Ron's Rogue, and Ron telling me that he disobeyed his principle of banning Priest, and he has banned Druid.
Ooh. Oh, I think a Druid ban is a big sign that we're going to see Death Rattle Demon Hunter from Ron, because that's a deck that has a good matchup into Priest and a pretty abysmal matchup into both Token and Primordial Druid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been liking that deck a lot. I think it's increased in power a fair amount with the release of Wailing Caverns, right? Fell Rattler in the 3-drop slot.
Yeah.
It's just a really powerful inclusion.
I think also the death of Paladin on ladder helped a bit. Speaking of Paladin, we're going to see a Paladin mirror game 1.
Indeed.
This is interesting, and this is one thing I'm very interested to see the archetypes of Paladin, right? It's looking like Librams from Heat Shock, based off the Aldor Attendant in hand. And I can't see Ron Mexico's hand yet, so.
I don't see an Aldor attendant. Oh, okay. The Mulligan just loaded for me. It's like, where's the Aldor attendant? I just see a hammer.
Uh,
I cannot wait to release.
Unmute. So for those watching, we have Ron on the bottom, Heat Shock on the top, and these guys can spectate however they like.
So
Yeah.
an interesting deck from Ron Mexico here. What I saw on the Mulligan, he's got this Nerubian Egg with a Blessing of Kings in hand, and I believe I saw a Mulligan away 2 Scorpids.
Yeah, I especially seeing this Carousel Griffin, I assume it's some sort of menagerie aggressive pal. Well, it's the N'Zoths. I think that pretty much confirms that it's some sort of menagerie deck. The Nerubian Egg was something that saw play in Aggro Paladin in like initial builds and sort of got phased out with the Menagerie builds of it.
Yeah, so it's interesting seeing that coming back after the patch. But let's look at this turn. Heatshock is off to a pretty quick start on the board, like lots of the low drop cards in hand. But is now staring down a 4/4 Nerubian.
I don't know how this interaction with Reckoning and Divine Shield works. Do you know if this Nerubian will die here?
I don't. It looks like it doesn't.
Yeah.
You learn something every day. But this is a pretty commanding lead on the board for Heatshock. I'm just worried that if he doesn't start drawing into things, Talon's really good. It was a really lucky draw for the next turn, because I was going to say if he doesn't start drawing into some higher cost options, he's going to lose control pretty quick when things like Hammer the Naru and Carousel Griffin start coming down.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to see Heatshock's list because it seems to have taken, I don't know what's been cut from the traditional Libram builds, but the Righteous Protectors probably are coming in place of First Day of School, which was formerly in the 1-drop slot.
Yeah, and it seems a rather aggressive Libram list, because I believe there was also Hammer the Naru in the mulligan, which I think sort of contests a slot with the weapon Libram, that's name I'm forgetting, Libram of Judgment, I think. So it's an interesting inclusion. I haven't seen much Hammer the Naru in Libram Paladin, so it's an exciting list for sure. But we do see First Day of School is in Ron Mexico's hands, so not cutting any of the nerfed cards.
Reckoning is going to trigger and take out that Nerubian.
Yeah, and Ron really needs something big from First Day of School here. Cogmaster and Lab Partner do a decent job of contesting. But
Yeah, Heatshock's definitely starting to brick a little bit. I think for Ron, it's really going to come down to this turn 5 if he's able to get a decent play on the board. Might be forced to just play out this Carousel Griffin, even though you know you're going to be playing Hammer on 6 and corrupting it. I think passing turn 5 is not really an option.
I think it's a fair play. You're not in a ton of life total threat, and you need to start contesting this board. And like, I mean, he really has no other plays, right? The only other play is Hero Power Pass. So
Yeah.
it's looking like probably a Carousel Griffin.
Well, to be fair, the Blessing of Authority and Kings were green. They were potential plays on that.
It's true. I take that back. There were other plays. We could have Blessing of Authority, Talon, and then conceded.
Yeah.
Ooh, draws into the Aldor Attendant.
I cannot wait.
That's really nice, actually, because even though he doesn't need the healing yet, Libram of Hope could come down on the next turn now. You have a guaranteed draw of, I believe, Lady Liadrin off of Talon Forging. So I wouldn't mind seeing just this discounted Libram played next turn for Heatshock to try and keep control of this board and push for lethal.
Yeah. I think, assuming this is Liadrin, interesting, or assuming the highest cost is Liadrin, interesting to not trade in the Murgur McGurgle, because I think I'd probably rather draw McGurgle Prime off of my Talon right now
true.
than Liadrin with the current state. Although pushing face is leaving Ron in a really awkward position.
Yeah, Ron doesn't have any great plays here. Hammer the Naru is sort of the expected play, but you could go with like a Broom and Blessing of Authority. But the issue with that is you're still only clearing off Talon.
Yeah, Hammer the Naru puts us very close to being dead, even with the taunt on board. Although Animated Broomstick isn't much better.
Yeah, we're either killing something or we're making a 6/6 taunt. I guess you could Hammer the Naru and then smack face on the 5/4, but it doesn't seem worth it. Okay, so we're going with the Broom and a Hero Power, which will let us kill off one additional. So we get the 3/1 dead as well. Not quite lethal damage from Heatshock, but some good tools in hand. Yeah, and there's the Libram of Hope. discounted last turn.
Yeah, I think this 8-8 is gonna just close out the game here. Yeah, that isn't an answer.
Yep. Ron needed like another broom to even stay in the game. And from there, it was looking dicey with second Libram of Hope in Heatshock's hands. So there it is. Ron Mexico's going to concede, and his Paladin is out.
Yeah. That means Heatshock is sticking with this Paladin, which is... I'm guessing it's going to struggle against Ron Mexico's Rogue, depending on what Rogue it is. But could definitely pose a lot of trouble for this Demon Hunter.
Yeah, so I think I agree with you. I think we're expecting a Rogue queue up from Ron next. Demon Hunter doesn't seem like maybe the matchup that you want. But we will see as they're jumping straight into game 2. It is, yep, Paladin versus Rogue.
I think with that Druid ban, I'm interested to see if this is maybe, yeah, it is going to be Secret Rogue. Because Secret Rogue has a much better matchup into both Paladin and Priest. So I definitely like this choice.
Yeah, I think it's really smart, and as we can see, has Spark, Joy Cheat, and a Secret in the opening hands. So, good player, too.
And Bamboozle, probably the best secret to be cheating out when you play that Spark Joy cheat, just because getting a 6-drop on turn 3 is pretty decent.
Absolutely, and I think we're expecting to see it coined out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. And I will say, actually, the Hand of Adal nerf is less noticeable on an Aldor Attendant than on a Knight of Anointment, so I think Libram Paladin may have been the right choice post-nerf. But Omayog played, and we're going face.
Heatshock is respecting that potential Bamboozle and not trading into that 3-3.
Yeah, and the issue that comes with this, though, is Blackjack Stunner is in hand. You could go like Blackjack Stunner Swindle this turn, take complete control of the board, get rid of a Hand of Adal. Swindle will eat this Omayog, I believe.
The majority of 2-mana spells are fairly good. Yeah, because there's both all the Rogue and Hunter secrets in the pool, and that is a pretty decent hit.
It's one of the better ones. I mean, especially right playing Swindle, what you were looking for is resources, and what are you going to get from Plagiarize? You're going to get some resources, so not much. Just going to get an Aldor Attendant. But we'll see. Expecting probably just a Kazakus drop on this turn.
Yeah, it's turn 4. Our opponent's board is pretty meh. Why don't we make a 5-mana golem so we can curve out?
I like the sound of that. And you can trade in these minions too. Nice value trades on both parts. Get some 5/5s. Seems like a good spot we find. Let's see.
Rush and Divine Shield are both good. Divine Shield's gonna push your board presence a lot more, but Rush can also, if you can get a favorable trade with that golem, it can really, really put the Paladin in a rough position.
Yeah, Rush is nice. I just feel like when you have such control of the board like Ron does right here, I think Divine Shield probably closer to the way to go, and does find copy, so I think that's a Divine Shield copy golem. It is. Arguably the best golem.
And you can play this golem and maybe even consider Shadow Stepping your Blackjack Stunner as well.
Yeah.
And you're essentially... Okay, Officer double trade. I don't mind that play either.
I don't hate it. I think we're keeping... you still have Shadow Step in hand. You can Shadow Step one of these golems next turn if the board isn't too threatening. You can save Shadow Step for something more like Jandis later in the game if you're expecting this board to get cleared. Heatshock has a couple options. There's a Libram of Hope, a Libram of Justice. There's some Samuro nonsense. I'm thinking that Samuro Justice seems
Samuro Justice? The issue is, I believe, at this point, Heatshock knows that this is Bamboozle.
Oh, true.
And if you attack with Samuro and it turns into a minion that you can't kill, or that
I think you can attack first with the weapon. Yeah.
It's perfectly harmless to me.
Cool. And you just accept that they're gonna get a 4/1. That's fine. We're clearing off the 5/5s and Shadow Step. sort of dies in hand a little. So I think with this pan out, it would have been nice to see it on the blackjack, but it's not terrible. Oh, actually, one of the 5/1s lives. Never mind. So you can still use it. And actually, now
just
it's even
shadow
stronger.
steps that.
Yep.
Yep.
It's much stronger.
I think we shadow step the golem. I'm guessing we're gonna hero power prize blunder and just keep Paladin off the board.
Yeah, I
push
like
some
it.
more damage face. We have the stunner in hand, so when Libra of Hope comes down, you just bounce that 8/8 back and keep pushing face.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for Ron. There's other than these Libram of Hopes, there's not much Heat Shock can really do to like clear minions. You can set up these taunts, but obviously, as you said, it's gonna get Blackjack stunnered. And the other one should be able to be punched through eventually. So we'll see. Health totals back up much closer to even now, though.
Reporting for duty.
I'd expect dirty tricks, stunner, man crick, and then you can slot in that 1/3 as well since you have the mana for it.
Yeah, I like this, and this is a dangerous amount of damage coming down from Ron Mexico. Heat Shock pushed down to, I believe, like 8. Right? Yeah.
Heat Shock smartly killing off the stuff that can be shadow stepped back to answer his 8/8 before playing it. Although it's still very, very rough for the Paladin right now. Really just showing the strength of Secret Rogue in this matchup, being able to have a 1-mana 1/2 that answers your opponent's big minions super cleanly. Really just spells GG for the Paladin.
Yeah, it's looking like a lot of damage. Alex Straza, Duran, too. This is looking pretty rough. Looks like we're probably going to go up to 1-1 in the series. But we'll see how Ron chooses to punch through this golem or this Guardian here.
Okay. Seems gonna play ambush, testing for that Omayog, and then yeah, passage, just looking for, I believe, Wicked Stab. Wicked Stab would be lethal. One Thief can also find potential.
There's Wicked Stab.
Wicked Stab.
Gonna want Thief anyway. We could find Fireball and have some fun.
Ask of Cthulhu for lethal next turn.
But Plunderer here too. This is just a very
Right.
big chunk of damage. Yep,
okay,
you can
yeah, this is-
Plunderer trade with Mankrik.
Different order than I was seeing the lethal, but
Oh, you didn't have to
works
trade
just the same.
Yeah, nice. Well played from Ron Mexico, and the series is going to go up 1-1. Both Paladins are now eliminated. Ron is stuck on the Rogue for another game, and Heat Shock has, the options of Druid or Priest. Or not Druid, Druid was banned. Priest or Warrior to queue into this.
I'd expect Heat Shock's gonna queue up that Warrior. Rush Warrior is very dominant into Secret Rogue.
Yep, absolutely right. Another fast queue. Obviously, assuming it is a Rush Warrior. Rush Warrior is still a powerful archetype. Has maybe added Kresh, but for the most part, a very similar deck. Some people have been focusing heavier on a more menagerie style, throwing in N'Zoth into the list, so I'll be interested to see if Heat Shock's list has slowed down in that way, or is still a more typical Rush Warrior.
Yeah, I think having that faster list is definitely what you're gonna want in this matchup. Just because you win it a lot more by sort of keeping the Rogue off the board early and sort of leveraging that into a win. So if you get the Rogue too long, they're going to set up Alex shenanigans and kill you even if you have the board.
Yeah, and the perfect card for that is okay. Actually, I'm gonna mulligan away the Wormwall Challenger, but finds Gnarg, so seems like it was the right decision. Octobot in hand for Ron. 2 Spark Droid cheats, but no secret. But decently heavy looking hands from both players. Octobot with no answer though is a little difficult.
There's Crash.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if that Kresh is included in most of the lists now, even if it's not a more menagerie focused. So this doesn't say much about the deck list other than the fact that we're running the turtle.
Yeah, I mean, just as a minion, a 6-cost 3/9 again gives you 10 damage worth of a weapon when it dies. It's hard to pass that up in any sort of mid-range warrior.
Yeah, and especially in a matchup like this, the 8 armor can be invaluable too, right? That's one Alexstrasza hit. So it's nice. Hovering over a conditioning at rank 1 this turn. See if he plays it. Yeah. Spending his mana. Playing it with Ronthak in the hand for additional hand buffs. It's still pretty good.
Oh, we drew a secret, so we can play these Spark Joys now.
Look at that, Spark Joy. Still no trigger on the Octobot, but that's okay. And the secret here is ambush, I believe.
Soon it's
So
gonna be Koi
if
and
Heat Shock sees the lines, he could attack in case of bamboozle ambush. But with the weapon, it's nice.
Yeah.
Kill off the Octobot, trade the weapon into the 2/3, and you're left with pretty decent board control. And
Yeah,
honestly,
this
we could
is-
see something like a secret passage this turn, even from Ron. There's not a ton of great plays.
Yeah, I think Secret Passage is a lot rougher when you're playing the secret version, the early secret passages, just because you're not running the Cult Neophytes and those sorts of cheap cards you can just drop out. I'd almost expect trade Shadow Step Swindle and try and hit a secret with that.
That's smart. Getting hopefully more use out of the Spark Joy sheet, and that is what we're gonna see. Still has 2 mana left over and finds a secret. So is rewarded. Also finds both the Blackjack Stunners. So actually just gonna use one this turn, kicks a Tent Trasher back. Tent Trasher can't come down again this next turn, and I believe loses the buff. So
Yes.
that's a powerful board swing. Attacks into the 1-cost minion to play around potential bamboozle outs. And probably looking at just a Sword Eater to re-equip that weapon.
And it'll let us play that 10 Treasure next turn if you want to.
It's true. Good options for next turn. There's Tent Trasher. There's also Ronthak, which has 4 attacks, so actually is similar amount. But Blackjack Stunner again on the Sword Eater, and gets another bundle. So Ron Mexico really finding all the resources here, just drawing through his deck at a pretty quick rate. That is Tenwu and Alexstrasza, so if Ron can find another Octobot, then maybe there's some shenanigans, but actually just gonna play the Tenwu down to get the Blackjack Stunner back.
I think Tenwu and Alex is a little ambitious in this match. Yeah, just because if you're getting a turn 9, turn 10, your opponent's probably played a Troublemaker, and you're probably dead. Just playing out Tenwu for that board presence seems to be a lot more likely to be the winning line.
Yeah, notably does get cleared off by the weapon Ronthak. It's a nice trade in, and this is a big hand. We've got some double buffed minions, right? I believe Kresh has been hit with 2+1/+1. And Samuro getting a buff is also pretty relevant, but also a pretty high costed hand, but with good proactive plays for next turn. We'll see what Ron gets off of the secret passage, though.
Best hits. I think you take the Flurry here, and you play, Flurry, Bamboozle, Octobot.
Yeah, it seems like the best option here. Playing Octobot when you know on board it can be cleared without triggering the Frenzy is never fun, so freezing Ronthak makes that feel a little better. We can see in hand there is Tent Trasher that's playable if Heat Shock cares enough about the Octobot.
Yeah, perhaps
it looks
hoping
like
that there's going to be a 5-drop that can contest this, popping off this Bamboozle. The 5-drop pool is pretty decent, but it's not good enough to kill a 6/6 most of the time.
Vectis is not quite gonna get there. And Ron Mexico now has a decent struggle ahead of him, trying to fight for the board back. Can't even really play the Hanar because Dirty Tricks is already on the board. And Dirty Tricks, almost a dead card in this matchup a lot of the time.
Yeah, assuming Heatshock is running a standard Rush Warrior list, there are 3 spells left in his deck for Ron to get Dirty Tricks value from.
And especially with the Runthak sticking on the board like this, none of the spells in his deck are even really that essential. So Heatshock could feasibly just not play spells that he draws and never trigger the Dirty Tricks.
I think Ron is probably going to be forced to Wicked Stab this run back, which feels very bad just because it's going to make it hard to close this game out because you've used your 10 will already and you're kind of falling behind on board as well.
Yeah, it is important to note that Heatshock is down to 19 already, and there's 1 of 3 spells.
Actually, I
Heatshock is down to
5
19,
spells.
which is sort of the only out for Ron is just some more face chip damage, but it's looking pretty rough. He's pretty much run out of ways to come back on the board. Losing the Blackjack Stunner there. Kazakus is important, but not going to be able to play a 5 Golem on the same turn. Alex can't come down either, so it looks like Heatshock's probably going to get even more development on the next turn. But we'll see what the choice is.
Yeah, and I think as you were saying, Heatshock is probably just going to hold these spells knowing that this is likely a dirt, or knowing that this is a Dirty Tricks up, and not wanting Ron to get any potential outs.
Ooh.
Interesting. Went for a 10 mana golem.
He went
Seeing
10
that
to freeze
turn
all
9
right?
is probably going to be Alex, so we want to. And freezing your opponent's whole board can definitely be a pretty big
And it-
swing on turn 10.
10/10 Poisonous as well. Was clearly looking for the deal 3 damage
Yeah.
Golem with the Poisonous pick, but yeah, Heatshock probably just going to play Kresh and like Hero Power, trade something, looking to solidify his lead on the board here. And Kresh is important. Kresh is going to gain some armor back because Heatshock is in a little bit of life total danger with Alexstrasza coming down, but with Kresh on the board, I think you feel a little more secure. So
See Kresh
Ron's
play.
next 2 turns,
So,
seem
and-
pretty planned out. It's probably just always Alexstrasza into Golem, right?
But I will say, everyone in the chat, there has been a Kresh played. If you want to go to the THL server and
Ping
ping
turtle.
at Turtle,
Yeah, ping at
feel
turtle.
free to.
Hmm.
See, Heatshock has a variety of answers to this Alexstrasza. Any of like 5 different ways to kill this.
I was gonna say, I really want to see him bump with that crash just to get that 8 armor. Difference between 15 and 7 is massive.
Yeah, especially when you could be facing down a 10-drop Golem, right? Which Heatshock doesn't know can't just clear the board with Poisonous, right? So, I think it's really important. And there's still, I guess, 1 Wicked Stab left in the deck, right? So still a little bit of burst left from Ron Mexico. Just play the Mankrik. Put Olgar somewhere into the deck. And we'll see. I'm assuming it's just a Golem here. Yep, playing a 10/10.
Heatshock can't clear this, I believe. I don't see a way to actually clear off this golem this turn.
Yeah, actually, I don't either. Looking at maybe a stage dive, which
Yeah, that
would
runs the
proc
risk of
the
activating.
dirty skin. Yeah, I think that playing the stage dive, while maybe it was necessary to try and clear off this 10/10 golem with some parade leader bumper car stuff, which he did find bumper
It,
car.
it allows for a clear.
I think giving Ron Mexico more cards gives Ron Mexico more outs. Yeah, but I think this is a clear.
Yes. Yeah, obviously we don't know Heatshock's exact list, so it's possible that the stage dive was always letting him clear there. I think if we knew the list and could say that it was always allowing him to clear, that was probably the best play available. But yeah, it is a little risky giving your opponent those cards.
Yeah, but I will say also, after saying that, thinking about it, I think the only burst damage threat that Ron has left is that last Wicked Stab, right? I mean, potentially Wand Thief, but there's only 5 cards left in the deck, and looking at cards played so far, I think those are like... I'm not even sure. There's not much.
Does
One of
find
them's a
the
Wicked
Flame
Oh,
Strike,
he
but-
found the flame strike.
Ooh. That's huge. This is going to be a full clear. Gets to Shadow Step the Wand Thief as well. Look for more damage. Has Mancrick in hand too, so there's at least the 3 from that and the 6 from the Wicked Stab.
Yeah, this Alex is gonna just start
Plus
putting a
whatever can be
clock
found.
though.
True.
I think we have to try and Hanar chain here to find an out to this. Because if we're able to find a freezing trap, it'll just shut down this
Yeah,
Alex.
I think we always start with Wand Thief. It costs 0. Maybe there's a chance we find something fun. None of these are exactly the option.
Here.
Takes a counter spell. Could counter one of the 2 spells
Noble sack.
remaining.
Noble sack means that
It has to
means
be
that
noble
attack doesn't
sack.
go face.
Yeah, it means we're not dead yet. Open the cages or ambush are probably the picks here. It's never counterspell.
Yeah.
I'd say ambush, but
yeah, ambush
there's
so
a
you can look for a
decent
freezing.
argument for open the cages as well.
I think the argument for ambush is stronger. I think that open the cages triggers so rarely against a deck based off of
New card.
Wait, he didn't...
rush. It's true. I don't honestly know what that's.
Oh, Ron
I don't-
knows he has prize plunderer.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. With the double
Wow,
plunder, this
okay.
makes sense. I was not tracking cards in deck, so I was thinking, are we just
Not
dead to this
either.
Alex?
Jandit
Did my
is
game
Barrow.
bug? I think my game bugged. Did anybody else see the turn end?
Just saw the turn end just now.
Okay. I'm gonna...
gonna start by testing for that bamboozle. And
Finds
then-
it on Hanar.
Ron ending his turn broke my Hearthstone.
And the noble sack. Okay. Samuro plus Wormall lets us full clear here.
Yeah, it seems good. I think the Heatshock needs to take control of this board as soon as possible, but I think the issue with playing Samuro out now is that you're going to be pretty weak to Jandis when it comes down. Ambush also strong here means that it'll probably live. I guess you can Crab Rider into it.
Although that means if you're having to trade that crab, then it means you're not really developing the crab onto the board. And
Yeah.
I gotta move.
It's interesting. I mean, there's an argument. Heatshock can Warmaul and just clear off the 5-1, or it can Warmaul and Crab, or you can just Crab into the 5-1 or something. I think going for both here seems like the option. Warmaul, yep, smacks the 5-1 Crab, hits the Poisonous, and Ron Mexico is almost out of cards.
although Jandis, a good Jandis roll could help the game in Ron's favor here.
Yeah, it's true, and especially with seeing Heatshock confident on that last stage dive, sort of implies that there's not much there's not many rush minions left in Heatshock's deck that could come and swing this board
Oh,
back.
that's a very good Jandis.
Yeah, those are both strong. Both new Ashes of Outland cards, both with Frenzy, and putting Olgra into the deck too with the Wicked Stab. Oh, Mutinous won't find anything. That's a dead draw.
Yeah.
Yep, that one pretty clearly the
So with
Real minion.
Samuro and Sword Eater, we can kill off this 3/5, and
we can
then
kill the 3/5, but then we're taking what 7, 10
taking 12
X from
next
Wicked
turn.
Stab, plus an Olgra draw potentially.
Yeah,
Right,
we're
50-50 on the Olgra draw.
dead Head to Olga,
Yeah.
so it'd be a 50-50 die. I don't know if there's a better option though. I think you have to take the coin flip.
I think you have to do it too. I think Sword Eater, also, I mean, is just a taunt, right? Taunt is fun.
Oh, many.
You clear it with the Razormane Rider as well, right? And then there's a chance that Razormane Rider then goes face after living through a Sword Eater hit. Kind of fun.
No, because Razormane Rider is the illusion.
Oh, it's the illusion. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, Olga off the top here would be lethal for Ron. It is just going to come down to this 50-50. And that's it.
That's Olga.
Life. Fine life.
Wow.
Huge upset.
Last
Of
round
a
deck was
ambush.
ambush. Yeah, so this is just lethal. Trade in the Razormane Rider, hit face for 5 plus another 6. Heatshock's only at 8, so really well played for Ron to come back from a
Ron
spot that we thought was
Ron had
sort of
two
almost
ways of
unwinnable.
lethal. So good job by him navigating that matchup. That was very swingy, and it went really well for him in the end.
Yeah, definitely brilliantly executed by Ron. I was sort of thinking, I wonder if Heatshock was supposed to Alex his own face there.
Thought
I
the
think,
same thing.
yeah, we were at 15 at the time, I believe, or 17 at the
I
time.
actually agree
And
with
that feels safe, but that might have just been enough to help close out the game for Warrior.
And it makes sense, right? It's always a tempting play. If you can set up like lethal on board for the next turn, it's always a really tempting play, but I think that Alexing Heatshock's own face there would have actually just ended the game.
This is an interesting matchup. It's a lot harder to navigate. This is the Rogue in a closed decklist series because knowing whether or not your opponent has a Lucia in their deck is a massive difference in how you play this matchup. So I think in a situation like this, you have to just assume your opponent is running a Lucia.
Yeah, and I think that's a generally safe assumption. I think like probably about like 75% of priest lists tend to feature Lucia. We'll see if Ron wants to drop a secret here or wait for the Sparkjoy cheat. It's looking like probably just a dagger up type of a turn.
Honestly, I think if we had a Shadow Step in hand, I'd consider just dropping the Hanar here.
Yeah, you could drop it anyway. I mean, there's not many good right, how can you kill a 4 health minion without like double Holy Smite?
Does just drop the Hanar.
Wow.
Oh, that's going to be a potential answer next turn.
The nameless one.
Yeah, it's a card that doesn't show up a huge amount, although Heatshock was talking it up to me as a good way to beat Paladins, so probably seeing the Paladin in the opponent's list, decided to roll with it.
Oh, and Omayog could actually prevent that nameless one play. You can raise dead. Actually, can you raise dead if you don't have any minions?
Minions have died, you cannot raise dead.
Yeah. So Heatshock still doesn't have an answer, has to coin and like hope it becomes Lightning Bloom. I think it actually might have. Innervate.
So we can coin anyways. Let's go.
Look at that.
The concern though is that even if you do nameless one here, if your opponent has a Shadow Step, they can still keep doing Hanar stuff. So even like Blackjack Stunner. So instead we go for Apo and just kill Hanar. Or not.
It looks like we're tempted to play the nameless one anyway.
Deciding.
Okay, I like this. I like the Draconic Studies into Apotheosis.
Yeah.
Secret Rogue is not one of the matchups that you need to hold Apotheosis for Samuro. It's not as relevant to combo in this matchup as it is against, say, like Druid or Paladin. So I like committing it here.
No,
Guaranteed clear on the
missed
Gnar,
the
and the
bamboo
Sparkjoy cheat
bolt.
will pull a counter spell. Blackjack Stunner gets rid of the Apotheosis, though, so back to board control for Ron.
I think as the priest, this matchup very often comes down to just trying to minimize chip damage. Because on the rogue side, you can't realistically sort of set up the Tenwu Alex combos that you'll often do just because of the threat of Alusha. But if you're able to just get a board presence and then Alex your opponent once or twice to close out the game, the secrets add a level of disruption that can make it very hard for the priest to deal with that.
Yeah, and as we can already see, the counterspell that came off of Shadow Jeweler is already sort of preventing Heat Shock from taking the board control back. And Heat Shock, handful of minions, not much removal. May just drop the nameless one. Yeah, onto the Octobot, so gonna prevent the cost reduction. It's a 4/4 Octobot out of his own, which could end up being relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Reducing this Alexstrasza even more
Yeah, this
pretty
is
powerful. It could potentially, like, if the Octobot gets hit, triggers the frenzy, Alexstrasza could come down next turn. Oh, actually comes down next turn anyway, because Draconic Studies number 3.
I'll say I'd be surprised to... Okay. I was going to say I'd be surprised to see anything that isn't Jandis this turn. This is something that isn't Jandis, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, I actually don't hate it. I think we're pretty clearly looking for a way to clear the Octobot, and also committing Jandis on a board that's already going this wide without her may not be the best idea into Priest.
Hmm.
That's
You
definitely
could start
think-
running into things like that 2-mana board clear. that
I think
can't
it's
remember
like
the name
Mancrick attack. You could like Mancrick attack with Sparkjoy cheat. Play Sparkjoy, that way you get the ambush to your thing. Unless this is already ambush. Yeah, okay. No, it's Bamboozle. There was
There were lots
there was a
of
good
good-
clear if you want to go with like Sparkjoy cheat to get ambush on the field. But opting to not do that.
I kind of like getting double Mancrick in deck.
Yeah, I like
Just
double
having
over.
that potential burn later.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I was even thinking of maybe shadow stepping the Octobot too. There were lots of good step options that turn, but so you still see Heat Shock still again left with a hand that's oh, there it is, Condemn. So is powerful. We'll clear off a couple of these minions, but not quite enough. Could look for like some renews to find maybe a second Condemn.
I think it's either Insight or Oppo. We don't have Samura in hand, so I might have taken the Insight there, but Oppo's certainly a good card too. And there's the Condemn.
Sure. Also
yeah.
found against all odds.
If you had the mana,
Funny,
that was...
punished for not taking apathy. But I like this. Double Condemn fully clears the board, but because Ron held off on the Jandis from last turn, can just drop Jandis this turn and knows that, like, look, Heat Shock had to go digging for that removal, right? So Jandis comes down and will probably be pretty uncontested.
And that's a pretty good
Those are
Jandis.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really seeing the difference between Secret and Miracle Rogue. It's not that much, but especially against Priest, when you're able to just get rid of one or two of those removal options, it can completely swing games around.
Yeah, and as we're looking, I believe the Truth Seeker is the illusion this time. Heat Shock looking for a way to clear. Does have Samuro Apotheosis. I don't think he's attacked anything though, so is still susceptible to Bamboozle. Which is why Ron chose the Truth Seeker to be the illusion, right? Because Bamboozle is up. So
We can Alex the 4/6. We could also Alex the Totem Goliath and plan on doing the Samuro Apo next turn. The risk with doing the Totem Goliath is that Kazakus into a board buff could be GG right there.
True.
Definitely a tough situation for Heat Shock. I think gonna go for Skystalker plus Amalgam, it looks like.
yeah, I don't hate it. I think aside from the Kazakus out, I wouldn't hate Alex on the Totem Goliath because sort of funny interaction that if you play Blademaster Apo and swing into the taunt totem and it gets bamboozled, it's like almost guaranteed to trigger frenzy anyway. which would just clear the board.
I don't know if there's any 4-drops with poisonous or 9 attacks, so it might be. I think it would be guaranteed to trigger.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know that there's probably none with 0 attack either, right?
Yeah,
So,
goes for 1 mana golem, doesn't hit the board buff, which I'm guessing is what we were really hoping for. But
Yeah.
it's sort of the next best thing in the poison deal 3.
I like it. The removal one is pretty good. You can throw it down this turn.
Missed the
Bit of an
taunt.
unfortunate hit.
but
Was looking for the taunt. You can Plunderer trade in Jandis, but we could be trying to hold on to Jandis for as long as possible. Maybe looking for like a Shadow Step option on that. But Plunderer Jandis trade would be the most damage.
That was interesting design to trade in the
Yeah.
4-1 over Jandis.
I don't love it. I think getting rid of our big 5-drop taunt that will get bamboozled.
You can see the
seems
Samuro
unfortunate.
Apo.
Yeah, and you can even Holy Smite the 5/5 as well before. Oh, but you can't trade into it because bamboozle. I believe that Heatshock has narrowed this down to bamboozle at this point. The only other 2 secrets it could be are, I believe, Shadow Clone and Shenanigans, which are 2 secrets that no one has ever run ever. So we are going to see it. Blade Master Apotheosis clears off this board. There will be a board of 4 totems, but not the most threatening, especially since Kazakus has already been played. We know there are no board buffs possible. But we're going to look for a mage spell.
I see Mask of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's a nice spell. We may have to actually Wicked Stab the Blade Master here, yeah, which doesn't feel great. It is the first Wicked Stab used, and holding Mask of Cthulhu makes it feel a little better. Also, drawing into Olgra immediately is good damage potential. Actually, somewhat unfortunate that this board is full. But it does draw into Shadow Step as well, so not terrible.
Yeah, I think you could potentially at this point sort of start trying to set up those Alex Tenwu shenanigans if you're able to get this ping with the Octobot especially. So if we play Wand Maker, Mysteria is a full clear, because we can then Holy Smite Mancrick afterwards. And I assume that's what
true.
we're going to do here.
True. Yeah, that's really nice.
And we can play Sethic and then Holy Smite.
No.
So I think with the Holy Smite, start generating more resources. Looking for more answers to the potential next board. But the issue for Ron is that I don't think that Ron's ever gonna have the like massive board control that he's had so far. Again, this game, right? Jandis is gone. Most of the deck that's left is like probably secrets and damage and small little minions.
I don't know if Ron needs it. I think at this point, Ron's just trying to close this game out. I mean, we can see there's
Oh my
not 14,
God.
there's 22 potential burn. Another mask. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. Shadow Step the Wand Thief. We can even commit the Wicked Stab this turn if we want, just to spend the mana. But it's not a lethal setup, so I don't know that we have to. Mirror Entity seems like the
Snap.
play.
I think
That snap.
I thought Snap.
I don't hate either one.
I don't hate either,
Your
yeah.
entity's a good pick.
As long as it wasn't the middle option.
Chalk Hubbard Alex. Could just Alex yourself here. But that would play into. Oh, Mirror Entity wasn't played to. Was
But it would
ambush.
play into that ambush.
It would play into ambush as well. Gonna drop the Scorpion instead. Finds a third Apotheosis if he wants it, but could go digging for more spells or just start to clear off this Wand Thief.
Sadly, you can't see if the secret triggered until after you finish picking. I think if Heatshock knew there was going to be that 2/3 poison, you take the Holy Smite. But without knowing, it's probably either Palm Reading or Apo.
Yeah, none of these options are bad. The only downside to Apo is it's a little slow. you're probably not expecting the Scorpion
Okay.
to stick
Does take
around
the
very long.
Holy Smite.
Wow. Reads the play, picks the Holy Smite. I guess we'll drop an Octobot and just heal himself here.
Drop this Power Word Feast, but I don't see a reason to.
Play around second Mask of Cthulhu by buffing your board up.
And there's second Olgra.
Yeah. So, again, similar situation to the last game. Not much left in Ron Mexico's deck. Is going to give the Octobot the discount immediately, but hits a lot of damage to the face. Yeah, we throw this Wicked Stab, setting up for an Alex lethal. So we can see there's still an Alex in hand
I think
for Heat Shock.
you have to Alex yourself here, because you know that there's the potential Alex lethal. And if you do Alex yourself, you're not dead.
Yeah. And it's even better. It costs 8 mana, so you can heal yourself as well. And go up to like 16, I believe, which is pretty definitely out of range. I don't really know what's left in Ron's deck. I think there's maybe another Blackjack, and then a couple secrets.
I think for Ron, you probably have to Alex your opponent's Alex here.
Yeah. I would agree.
Just hope that there's no like Shadow Word Death or Soul Mirror.
I think what's your only other option? You could play down both the secrets and just throw everything face. But I think I like Alex more. Yeah. This is good. Once again, setting up lethal. Another
Heat
Mage
Shock.
Scribe.
Yeah, it's got to be Mage Scribe Wave. That's
Yeah.
the line where we aren't dead.
And we'll see if these spells coming in are relevant. It's Power Infusion and a second Wave of Apathy. Actually, he's gonna give him another turn.
And buffing up this Mage Scribe, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Knowing you have second Wave of Apathy to trigger the second Mage Scribe potentially
Blue.
next turn makes playing this out this turn actually pretty. Oh my
We
god.
have 12 damage from hand right now. As Ron.
Yeah.
Do we know what's left in deck? We don't have second Shadow Step left, so we
Have
don't
to
have
play this, yeah.
that out. But
And we can play down both of the secrets this turn as well. Um, You can play both secrets and get a hero power off. This is so strong. Actually, looking to secret passage. What's left in the deck? Oh, Blackjack Stunner.
oh, yes.
So this is actually, even with Wave of Apathy, this is still lethal, I think.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. So this Mage Scribe needs to find something that heals, or he needs to draw into something strong.
Yeah.
Oh, Mutant is dead again.
Yeah, I'd say I'm really not sure about Mutinous and Priest right now.
Mutinous has just been bricking this whole series for Heat Shock. So we drop the Wave of Apathy and pray for
Esper Prayer, Flash Heal.
something insane. Holy Smite is not.
None of those are gonna do it.
That's not enough. This is just lethal from Ron Mexico.
Yeah, that's GG.
Oh,
Look at that.
what a amazing set of games. Like, amazing set of games.
Yeah, really, really well piloted last two games from Ron Mexico's Rogue. Like, just really impressive stuff. Finding wins, finding extra damage, and little pieces of chip where at least I thought he was pretty much out of the game. So GG's to both players and really well played.
Yeah, I'm gonna message Ron
Yeah.
for an interview. So yeah, wherever I may roam, putting up a massive week this week with Ron winning here. Believe that gets them to 18. No, yeah, 18 points.
17 to 9.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it should be
It
17.
was 17 to 9. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna add Ron
And
in here to our
Chuck having a
DM.
rough season. Now 2-5.
Needs to stop drawing mutants, I think.
I think there's a step you have to take before that. You know, stop putting muteness in the
He
deck.
could
to
just
begin
cut
with.
mutants, that's true.
There
Hello,
he is,
Ron Mexico.
the man of the hour.
How's it going?
It's going well, Ron. GG's on that series.
Thank you. I mean, it turned on just a lucky flame strike. Like that wand thief was so ridiculously overpowered. It gave me all the 7 mana broken mage spells that just got there.
It's true. Two really beautifully piloted rogue games in a row, though. Both games where at least I think I said both games that I thought you did not have enough damage to win, and then both games you won. So
Nice. Hey, sometimes we just get there.
So I did want to ask actually, what was the what's the thought on the lineup going into this and banning the druid?
So, honestly, I just didn't want to get clowned, man. I was afraid of clown druid. I I've been banning priest a lot, and I thought that Heatchok might anticipate a priest ban, and my warrior didn't look great into everything. I thought, and has like a terrible matchup into priest too. So I was like, okay, warrior's kind of iffy, and I'm in pretty good shape if he bans it, and maybe he bans it if he thinks that I go ahead and just ban the priest. Um, which I decided to kind of mix it up a little bit, and then I just needed counters for some of the other things I was expecting. So Libram Paladin could easily wreck me, and I thought he might bring that, so I felt like I just had to bring Secret Rogue as the counter, and then it just did some serious work for me.
I think Secret Rogue was definitely a very, very smart bring. Just staring down when you know your opponent's going to have both Paladin and Priest, it performs a lot better in both those matchups than Miracle. And well, we saw it also get the win against Rush Warrior, which is a little less favored.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue was kind of supposed to lose to the Rush Warrior. I was sort of anticipating that my Demon Hunter, which has some spiciness, was gonna be the cleanup deck for me, and I was kind of excited about that. But I'm more excited about just not having to queue it at all and take the 3-1 because that's big points for my team, and we need it. We started off slow, and now we're kind of hitting a playoff push.
Yeah, this is a huge week for your team, actually winning, as I believe we just determined 17-9 here, right? Really starts to solidify your spot in the playoff contention. So really well played. And actually, I have just one more question. Talk me through the Paladin bring for this week. You had a sort of spicier Paladin deck.
Oh man, I was excited about that Paladin. Libram Paladin just kind of was really hard to beat. I mean, he had a great start, and I drew like all of my top end. But that deck, it's got some pretty sweet options that it can do. It's obviously a N'Zoth deck, and the eggs and Terran Gorefiend can kind of snowball some early game too. It didn't quite line up this time around, but it did some work for me in pro. I had the classic egg on 2, Gorefiend on 3, and I was like, oh hey, that was an easy win. So it's kind of a cool deck that I just wanted to play as a little common than the Libram and Secret that I had been seeing a lot of.
So were you anticipating that Heatchok was going to bring at that Rush Warrior game 1? Because I believe the sort of aggro Paladin list with those Blessing of Authority and eggs are really able to sort of flip that matchup against Rush Warrior into favor.
Yeah, well, I thought the only way things go really bad for me in game 1 by queuing that Paladin was if it's the Paladin mirror, and that's fine because I had the built-in rogue counter to take out Paladin. Paladin was the thing of his decks that scared me the most, and I didn't want to lose another strong deck that I thought could clean up like Demon Hunter into the Paladin. So I felt like I had to just kind of map it out for what the best way to lead and counter would be, and it arrived at what I think Paladin is decent as an option that might be able to sweep, and even if it doesn't, it's probably losing to a Paladin Mirror, and then I can just bring the Rogue and see where that takes me. And I mean, Rogue was just straight up cheating, like all 3 games. Like Rogue just kept cheating. I got super lucky. I was talking to Heatshock, and he was saying, "God, you're wand thieves." Like I'm just a dirty luck box right now, but we take those.
Yeah, I mean, you had to see what was in the box, and you got some good things in the box.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I
Yeah.
was very fortunate, but happy that it worked out. And I think my team just had a little bit of extra motivation this week. You know, Sage decided to show up and start talking some shit in the THL server. Well, Sage, if you're watching, how you like me now?
Yeah, well, I will say Sage just messaged me and asked me to say good game, and he's hoping that you guys will get a rematch in playoffs.
Nice, classic Sage.
Because it'll go
Love to see it.
the other way in the rematch.
Oh, I hope not.
Sure.
But we will see. It is it is basically my former team from last season. I got a lot of love for those guys. So always fun to face off against them. Always fun to face off against Heatshock too. And this time I just had all the luck on my side. So you know,
Mhm.
happy to see that happen, and we'll see how it plays out next
I will
time.
say, Heatshock might have better odds if he stops playing 7 mana 4/4s against you. I think we saw
Yeah,
Mutinous
it is
in
important to
two of
note.
those decks.
You may not know that I believe he bricked Mutinous like 3 times.
No, it was twice.
Ouch.
Just twice.
But
both,
Yeah.
both the warrior and the priest had Mutinous, and you had no minions in hand when Heatshock drew it.
I think you actually had no
But-
minions in deck both
yeah,
times.
the last game there was no minions in the deck. Because it was just your 2 last cards.
Brutal.
That was pretty brutal, I'll be honest.
Yep.
And we drew Olgra, so
Yeah, we found you
Sage
found
had
you
one more
found
thing
wife
he
a
wanted
lot.
me to say.
I was inspired by a certain pro team called Mancrick's Multiple Wives. It sounded like a good idea, so I thought maybe I should
Yes.
put more wife in my deck and find wife.
that was an interesting play actually. I remember that being one of the turns that had like quite a lot of options. You could have I think you shadow stepped the Mancrick when there were options to shadow step both the Sparkjoy or the Octobot as well, but shadow stepping the Mancrick ended up getting you like exactly the amount of damage that you needed, I think. So
Yeah, I thought it would be important to get the extra 3/7s. The only real unfortunate thing was when the strength totem buffed the Mancrick. I was like, oh no, it's gonna he's gonna hysteria me, and it's gonna hit the Octo, and I'm not gonna get any discounts. Oh come on. But
yeah, that was a big struggle for
like,
Octo
I
for
mean,
you.
I had a lot of luck in that series, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can complain too much about
yeah,
that.
we'll absolutely
Exactly.
trade that for 2 Mask of Cthunes.
Yeah.
Oh.
The main play was just making sure that I killed the Octo and he didn't get discounts. I had Wicked Stabs in deck. I had the Plunderers in deck, and I figured it was very likely to find it with Passage. And then Passage just kind of gave me a really incredible draw. And I was looking at the other step options, and I just felt, you know, multiple wives the way to go. Get that extra damage. 3/7's good.
Yeah, it was a really heads up play. Like I think we saw from you in all of those rogue games. So just really well played all around. Big week for you, big week for your team. So GG's.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you guys for casting.
Yeah. No
And
problem.
Fish for opping, of course.
Of course. Always got to thank Fish.
Yeah.
I
I
guess
love
sort of
doing
one
this.
final question. Yeah, one final question before we head out. We did just see the mini set drop and as well as the balance patch to Paladin. How do you feel about what the meta is right now? What decks seem good? What decks seem bad? What decks seem like bait?
So Shaman is looking kind of scary. I gotta say, I think Shaman might be making a comeback, and it'll be interesting to see. I think Paladin is still going to be pretty strong, despite nerfs and no mini set support. Warrior's looking pretty solid, especially with some N'Zoth synergies. I think Control Priest still looks very scary and is a solid deck. Rogue as well, very very strong. Druid kind of on the outskirts a little bit more because the mini set didn't boost it too much, but Token was already really good, and Clown Druid has some nice counter matchups, and Death quite a bit, and I'm excited about that one. So we will see, but I think there's just a wide range of classes. Like I don't want to just list every class in the game, but like I didn't even mention Mage, and Unchanged Mage is looking strong too. So I think there's something for everyone right now. The mini set might have done just enough to give it a little bit more of a nudge to open up, kind of whatever class you really want to play.
Okay, but what if I want to keep playing Control Warrior?
Oh well, I mean, I heard from a certain owly friend of mine that Control Warrior is the nuts. So I think that sounds like a good move.
Well, you can ask any of my legacy opponents, and I'm sure they will tell you something similar.
Nice.
My pro opponent banned it a couple hours ago, so
Yeah,
I'm
see,
taking
that's a
your
smart
advice. Owl.
move. Don't take no chances with Control Warrior.
Yeah. All right. I guess it seems to be about it. Obviously, I want to thank Ron and Heatshock for playing on stream and giving us a great match. I want to thank Mojo Pal and Nice Jewish Owl for the casting. That was fantastic. And while we are here, before we end, you see our donation bar on the top left screen of the screen, as well as our new logo that we are gonna have for the month of June, as THL is celebrating Pride Month. Any bits, subs, monetary donations through the donation link down below in the about / panels for the channel, as well as any merch sales will be going towards the Trevor Project this month, and we are holding a standard tournament, a THL Pride Month standard tournament tomorrow, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to compete in that, it's not just for THL players; it's for anybody who wants to go ahead and play. Sign up.
That's right. I'll be casting that one tomorrow.
Yeah, you and I will be casting that. So
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. So make sure to tune in for that tomorrow. And until I guess then, have a great night. Stay safe, everybody. And thanks for watching.
Have a great night, everyone.